Hi there, how are you? And welcome back. Holy moly, it's Devlog 16, I can't believe it. And today we are finally going to have a little chat about game design and the future about this game and what I'm trying to build. Before I talk about game mechanics and stuff like that, there's been a pretty big visual update, as you can see. So let's briefly cover that and then we'll jump into game design stuff. So after the last devlog, I was actually pretty unhappy with the state of the project. I had done so many different experiments and added so many different asset packs. The project was an organizational mess and the performance was horrible. It was like taking forever to start up the project. So basically I started again. I created a new project completely from scratch and imported only what I needed and what I was using. And I was able to very intentionally tweak and adjust the lighting and project settings. And that's actually a lot of why the map right now looks so much different. In the last project, the lighting and shaders were all kind of fighting with each other. And the lighting was like changing the color of the map. So the only reason the map looks different now really is because the lighting is set up correctly and it's not messing with my textures. And it's a massive, massive improvement. And it's still not perfect. I want to do something different about the outside of the map, this gradient. I'm still thinking about it though, so if you have any ideas on what I should do, let me know. I want it to look nice, but also be scalable. You know, I don't want to make entire maps outside of the map because I just don't have time for something like that. I need to find something, a nice in-between of something that works and that is quick to produce. Another thing that's changed that I am most happy about is this new path renderer. So since Devlog 1, basically, I've been using the same arrows to draw my path. And that worked fine for the most part, but a few months ago actually I was trying to take part in the game jam and I failed miserably. But one thing I got working was I was drawing a path using the Unity's line renderer. So I decided to try and switch to something like that and I absolutely love it. So I changed the colours to match the arrows that I originally had. And then basically I just draw the path using all of the nodes that I get from my pathfinding that I've always had. And that's just how it works. It's just that easy, really. The only thing kind of special that I've done is I've added this arch when you're moving up and down blocks, and when you're doing an attack as well, there's an arch. And that's it. That's actually just something I found on the internet. So here's the code for that. If anybody gives you shit, there's absolutely nothing special. I'm just creating more nodes in the path and just adjust them slightly to create this arch effect. And then the last visual update of note is I've started working on ability animations, particularly with projectiles. Once I had the AI working, it was pretty confusing what the enemies were actually doing. The only thing you could see was them doing their little attack animation and then your health would magically go down. So you didn't really know where they were even attacking or anything like that. So I imported a particle system asset pack that I've actually owned for a long time. Then I worked on hooking up this chain of events. Basically, I run the attack animation, which then triggers the launching the projectile, and then triggers the ability effect happening once it hits its location. Okay, so that took a little bit more time than I wanted. Hope I didn't lose you on the way. Everything visual is constantly a work in progress. I'm definitely learning all of this stuff as I go. If you have any questions, just ask, and I'll do my best to answer. Right, now let's get into the meat and potatoes of the video. I want to talk about game design and battle mechanics. So if you've been to this channel before, you've no doubt seen these janky buttons that have existed since day one. They are left over from when I was working on Tactics Toolkit, my asset pack that I built with the goal of helping developers get a head start making their own SRPGs. Link in the description. And those buttons are all gone now. In fact, this is actually the first devlog where I feel like I've truly moved away from Tactics Toolkit and I'm making my game. And I think the best way to explain what I'm talking about is to pitch you my vision. This is Battle Bus. I think, I don't know. The name is something I picked way back when I started the project. That might change, I don't know. But anyway, I'm making a roguelite SRPG inspired by games like Hades, Triangle Strategy, Fate Tactics, and Children of Morta. You play as a struggling band of adventurers who stumble upon a space bus. I know, it will make sense, I promise. which they use to travel the lands, go on adventures, and beat up bad guys. I promise one day that will make sense. I hope. The game will contain multiple levels that are represented as like roguelike-ish dungeons that you replay until you're strong enough to beat it, and then once you beat it, you move on to the next dungeon. And I have a theory about roguelike loops. If you don't know the difference between a roguelite and a roguelike, it's all about what happens at the end of a run. With a roguelite, at the end of each run, you typically get to keep some kind of resource or currency that will make you stronger, just like in Hades with this purple gooey stuff. And a roguelike is more like Binding of Isaac, where the only real way to get further in the game is to get better. It's purely skill based and you start the same every time you start playing. And I personally much prefer roguelites. I like the feeling that even though you may have had a terrible run, it wasn't wasted time, and since you've made progress towards something. Rather than getting frustrated that you just lost and got your ass kicked, you get excited because now you get to go back home and enjoy your cake. Talk to NPCs, spend resources, and prepare for your next run. I think Hades and Children of Morta do an amazing job capturing this feeling thanks to their multiple ways of progressing and their enjoyable story. Since it's more unknown, Children of Morta, what they do is when you go back, you get to explore this little family house that all your characters live in. You usually get some lovely little animation of that progresses the story and the relationships of your family. And then you have a bunch of different resources you can spend to increase your weapons, upgrade your spells, and level up your characters. And I think a big part of what makes this loop enjoyable is the length of the run. For both games, on a good run where everything is going really well, I think it probably take max an hour. And as a grown man in his 30s that typically only has an hour to play a game at a time, I really appreciate that idea. And this is just a really roundabout way to explain my game's battle mechanics. See, this idea of having an hour-long roguelike run is, I think, quite counterintuitive to what SRPGs are. SRPGs are all about strategy, taking your time, going through menus and all the different options you have, and that takes time. If I used my favourite SRPG, Triangle Strategy, one level there can take like 40 minutes to an hour due to the sheer size of the battles. So I need to design my battles in a way that the whole run with many battles can only take an hour. To achieve this, I'm thinking of doing two things. One is obvious, make battles small. With few units on a small map, battles will happen quicker. The second thing is my menuless battles. In my game, you're going to play an entire battle without pressing a single UI button. To achieve this, I'm going with this minimalist, hard set design inspired by a favourite game of mine, Fate Tactics. In Battle Bus, every unit will have 3 abilities, and which ability you cast depends on what they are targeting. If an enemy is selected, they'll attack. If an ally is selected, they'll do some kind of ally support spell. And if they select themselves, they'll do some kind of self spell. This is obviously quite a challenging design limitation, which I'm excited about. How do I design entire classes and enemies around having just 3 abilities? I always think to a certain extent, innovation comes from limitation. So this is a challenge I'm quite excited about. And it's all done and working there. Every unit can do enemy spells, ally spells, and self spells. The only thing to do now is all of the abilities are pretty much the same. Every unit has their basic attack, and they have a bunch of healing spells attached to them. So I need to work on mixing that up, like instead of doing healing, doing a defense buff or speed buff or something like that. And making all of the characters feel a bit more unique than just attacking and healing each other. But that's it. That's my big game design ramble, I guess. Trying not to talk too much about it because I want to keep the video short, but hopefully this is something I'll do more often where I will talk about what I'm doing on my game but back it up with kind of where my inspiration comes from, and then you can tell me if you think my ideas are stupid or it sounds interesting. So let me know what you think. Excited? Hope you're excited too. Yeah. Let me know. Is this a good idea or am I talking total rubbish? Because it's very possible that I am talking total rubbish. But anyway, let's jump into the outro. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for making it this far. I just wanted to do a little outro segment just to give little updates on the channel and what's going on. I have been relegated to the storage room, as you can see, and there's a good reason for that, and that is I'm going to be a dad soon. Very soon. Like, I mean, she might be downstairs giving birth right now, and I don't even know about it. I couldn't believe it either. There was a woman willing to sleep with me. But yeah, that's the big life update that's happening very soon that I'm only slightly scared about, but mostly excited. But it also means that I'm probably going to be taking a break from game dev for just a little while. I haven't actually, even though I don't post videos all the time, I never actually stopped working on stuff and learning stuff for a few years now. So I'm looking forward to having a little break and spending good family time, getting used to my new life. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I don't know if I'm going to be working much more for a few weeks, months, I don't know. But I will still be active on the Discord, of course, so go and join. I've always loved Discord. It's the best thing that's come from this channel, to be honest. Being able to go on and see what other people are working on it's what keeps me inspired to keep working myself. So I want more people on there and showing off their games so I can steal their ideas. And that's it. The other thing was in January, I did a little live stream that was going to be monthly updates. For obvious reasons, I was probably a little bit arrogant thinking I could do that. There's a lot more to do than I expected, real life wise. But yeah, I do want to do those updates whenever I get back to work. And I think they will probably replace videos for a wee while I try to get my balance back in order. So keep an eye out. If I go live, come and say hello. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching and all the support. It means the world to me. And I will see you when I see you. Bye, guys.